Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. I am LurchCon, and today we're going to go over another inexpensive target and target stand that you can do right at home for about $20. This was a father-son project that I decided I wanted to go ahead and teach my son on how to use the basic tools that would be required to build this. And for those of you that are hobbyists, you can do this a lot cheaper and be able to do this in a quicker amount of time than me and my son did. Now, here we got a swinger target. There's a gentleman here on YouTube that I got this idea from, but I looked all over and I couldn't find any measurements or any schematic or blueprints or whatever you want to call it. I couldn't find anything on how to make one of these. So the measurements that you see here are all based on this full silhouette target. So, like I said, it cost $20 to build this, and it took us about 2.5 hours. Starting at the bottom, the support beam here is a 1x1, and you can use anything you want, but I decided to use this because it's all I had left. It is nailed in here and here with one nail to allow these to pivot. That way, the only thing holding the top up here is a 3/4 inch hole that the piece of rebar is through, and it makes it compact when I need to throw it in the garage and hide it so it doesn't take up so much space. Now that's why I decided to go with the triangle legs, to make it that much easier. Now I could add another piece here to the back legs, but that would take away from it being compact and me being able to take it down quickly. The legs here are 46 inches. This is 46. And the main weight below, from this side, on the outer edge of this 1.5 by 1.5, because that's what the whole target is made out of, the target itself. The framing is 1.5 by 1.5. From the outside edge here to the outside edge here, it is 23.5 inches. Now I've written down some of the measurements, so you may see those throughout the video to make this easier. And hopefully I don't ramble on too much and you guys get the basic idea of how to create one of these. But I added 2 to the front. I added a 20.5 inch because from the inside of here to the inside of here is 20.5 inches. And I added 123.5 on the back side. Now, like I said, this is all 1.5 by 1.5, the framing for the target itself. From the bottom edge here to the top edge here is 64 3/4 inches. Add in your 1.5 by 1.5 and you got 66 1/4 inch. So from the bottom to the top it's 66 1/4. But you got to keep in mind when you build one of these that you want to have the weight system, the counterweight system, and make sure that this weighs about the same as this with the close amount of distance. If not, you may have to add more weight to keep this thing in balanced while it's spinning. But for those of you that, it took me a second to figure it out, but for those of you that want me to make it easier, from the top here to right about here is 35 3/4 inch. And I say right here because on the back side, this piece here is a 1.5 by 1.5 and it's 20.5 inches. This is just the bottom support for the target itself. But from this point to the bottom is 30.5 inches. So keep that in mind when you build this, that you want to be able to make sure that the counterweight and the weight are pretty similar. That way it doesn't go all cattywampus on you. This 2x4 here is also 20.5 inches, and the reason for this one is to give more support to the piece of 1/2 inch PVC that I put in through there. It also goes through this piece, but this one here is 23.5 inches because it goes from side to side. Now, like I said, this piece of PVC is 1/2 inch PVC, and I used a 1 inch drill bit to drill the hole for this. Now the PVC itself was a little bit smaller than this 1/2 inch hole, so what I did was I put a nail in through here. That's why you can see an imperfection there. I just nailed the nail in through there and put one in through the bottom, and what that does is it gives it support. Now the piece of PVC is 6 inches. So you got an inch sticking out over here, you got an inch on this side, and then you got your 2x4 here and your 2x4 here. The piece of rebar which acts as the pivot point is 32 inches. The reason I went with 32 inches is I can hack it off here and have enough for another stand. As you can see, the legs, hopefully you can see, they're bowed out just a little bit, and that's just to put tension on the piece of rebar to keep it from moving around inside those holes, because as you can see here, the hole is much bigger than the piece of 3/8. I use a 3/4 inch drill bit for this, and the reason for that is I wanted to be able to angle these out to give me more stability, because out here in Vegas the winds can get hectic. So on the back side here, I just added cardboard, and all that does is just so that way the wind as well. I stapled the cardboard onto the 1.5 by 1.5s. Now you might be asking, where did I get my basic measurements? Well, the basic measurements came off of this target. This target is 23 inches wide by 35 inches long. So I went 35.5 from the top point here to right here. Wherever you see that 2x4 is 35.5 inches. I went 23.5 inches from here to here, and that's just to give myself a 1/4 inch on each side here and a 1/4 inch on top and bottom. I wanted to make sure that I had enough room to put the tape and apply it. Keep in mind also, I can just take this silhouette target off and just add the circle targets all over this thing and make it harder to shoot, but increase your focus and your shooting ability. So I think I've covered basically all the measurements. Just to recap, this is one solid piece all the way to the top on both sides. This piece here is 23.5 inches. This piece here is 64 3/4 inches. The legs are 46. The support beams are 45. Now keep in mind, I went 46 here, but if you want to save a little bit more money, I have 12 inches from the bottom here to the floor. So you can make those legs come out even more, which, I don't know, you could probably go about 42 inches. You can cut off that and be able to still keep the same size target that I used. Keep in mind also, you can take 3 or 4 inches off of every measurement I've given you, and that will accommodate a smaller silhouette target or the circle targets. I think I've covered all the measurements, so now without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and give you the demo. I'm going to set the camera down for 1 second to be able to do this.
Hi, Dad.
As you can see there, the piece of PVC is another piece of that 1/2 inch PVC with tape at the bottom and the inexpensive string. Now the string I've attached to this isn't very long, and that's just so I can hold the camera and be close to it. But when you pull the string, now if this looks kind of fast on the video, it's really not. I came out here and with an unloaded firearm and a laser, I was able to keep on target with this. Not that difficult. Now it swings for about 30 seconds side to side, and if you want it to last longer, all you have to do is make a longer support piece. So let me show you that. Right here is about level, but if I added more, I'm going to let go and it'll swing much longer, closer to 45 seconds. So the longer you make that support piece, the longer this will spin. Now hopefully this video has been helpful to some of you that wanted to try this but are like myself and kind of nervous too without measurements. If you have any questions or comments, please leave below and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Thank you for watching my video and have a great day.